Picture a warm kitchen. A kettle sings. A nurse checks a chart. A friendly landlady smiles from a porch. A woman lifts her thumb on a long, lonely highway. None of it looks like danger. That is why these stories feel so cold. The killers we are taught to fear in movies are loud and obvious. These women are not. They move through homes, hospitals, and small towns. They wear trust like a mask. When the mask slips, whole communities ask the same question. How did we miss it for so long? In Florida, 7 men vanish along the same highway. A woman says she shot in self-defense. Later, she confesses to multiple murders. Her name is Aileen Wuornos. In California, a social worker worries about a missing client. Police dig behind a tidy white house in Sacramento. They find bodies. The house belongs to Dorothea Puente. In England, a children's ward is full of sudden emergencies. Babies stop breathing. Hearts fail without warning. It keeps happening when one nurse is on duty. Her name is Beverly Alit. In the 1800s, families in small towns suffer gastric fever. Too many die after tea and meals. Years later, exhumations show arsenic. One name echoes, Mary and Cotton. In London, parcels float in the Thames. Inside, baby clothes and a name tag. Police follow the trail to a woman who adopts infants for money. Her name is Amelia Dyer. None of these scenes fit our simple picture of a killer. That is what makes them so disturbing. The threat hides in everyday places, in roles we are taught to trust. These women lived behind quiet doors. The caregiver, nurses like Beverly Alit UK and Jolly Jane Toppin US, 19th century, worked where life and death meet every day. Their tools were drugs and access. A chart mark here, a dose there. In a hospital, alarms ring all the time. A crisis can look like bad luck. The homemaker, Nanny Doss, later called the giggling granny, moved from kitchen to kitchen, marriage to marriage. Relatives fell ill. Doctors called it food poisoning or flu. She served meals with a smile. The smile hid arsenic. The neighbor, Dorothea Puente, ran a boarding house for people most of us don't see, elderly, disabled, and those without family. She cashed benefit checks, told caseworkers her tenants moved, and kept gardening. The garden held graves. The suitor, Belle Gunniss, placed ads for husbands on the American frontier. Men came with their savings to start a new life. They wrote home once, then never again. Later, a fire revealed bodies on her Indiana farm. The partner, Myra Hindley, stood beside Ian Brady in the UK, Moore's murders. Rosemary West lived with Fred West in a house where horror hid behind normal walls. The presence of a woman lowered victims' guard. The facade worked because it fit our expectations. We expect a kind nurse, a gentle neighbor, a loving wife, a helpful landlady. We do not expect cold calculation. That gap gives predators room to move. Most of these stories show a slide rather than a sudden leap. It starts with one boundary crossed in secret, then another. Each act makes the next easier. Aileen Wuornos grew up with abuse and homelessness. As an adult, she hitchhiked and did sex work to survive. In 1989 and 1990, she shot 7 men in Florida. She later said they attacked her, and she feared for her life. But she kept the victims' cars and belongings, sold items fast, and left trails. Police found her in 1991. She was convicted and executed in 2002. Her life story still raises hard questions about trauma, danger, and choice. Dorothea Puente started with fraud, small thefts, and forged checks. Then she found a way to turn people into steady income. A missing tenant meant she could keep cashing checks. That meant she needed a reason the tenant would not be found. The yard became her hiding place. A single social worker's concern broke the cycle. Police dug. 9 bodies were found. Puente was convicted of several murders and died in prison in 2011. Beverly Alit worked in a pediatric ward in 1991. Sudden collapses clustered around her shifts. Babies needed resuscitation at strange rates. Some died. Experts studied the cases. Numbers do not lie. The odds were impossible without human cause. Alit was convicted of murdering 4 children and harming others. She is held in a secure hospital. Nanny Doss charmed police and reporters. She laughed in interviews. But an autopsy finally told the truth. Her husband's body held arsenic. Investigators looked back. Many relatives had died the same way. She admitted to several poisonings. She was sentenced to life and died in prison. Belle Gunnis kept good records and a shovel. Suitors brought money. She made sure no one asked questions. In 1908, a fire burned her farmhouse. In the ashes, searchers found many bodies. Was one of them Belle? Some say yes. Others say she staged her death and ran. We may never know. The downward spiral is the same shape across time and country. The first step is hidden. The next steps get bold. The lies get bigger. The harm grows. The cover story phrase. Then one detail breaks free. A receipt, a garden bed, a shift schedule, and the whole story unravels. The reveal hurts because it shows the crime and the long list of chances to stop it sooner. Exhumations. Doctors once wrote, natural causes. Later, tests found arsenic in graves. Mary and Cotton's case only came to light after a final, suspicious death. Earlier warnings were missed or ignored. Paper trails. Dorothea Puente kept benefits flowing. Checks and ledgers tied missing people to her bank deposits. Aileen Wuornos's pawn slips, fingerprints, and the use of victims' cars led police to her. Medical audits. In Beverly Alit's ward, someone finally asked, "Why here? Why so many?" Data revealed the pattern no one wanted to see. In many countries today, hospitals now flag unusual clusters early because of cases like hers. Witnesses and photos. For Myra Hindley and Ian Brady, police found images, tapes, and items that connected victims to the pair. Rosemary West's house gave up secrets during a deep search. Survivors spoke. The courtroom heard proof, not rumor. Lore versus truth. Belle Gunnis' death in the fire is still debated. Some think she escaped. Others think she died there. What is certain is that many victims died on that farm. The lack of a clear ending is part of the chill. A reveal is not just an arrest. It is a mirror. It shows how bias and trust can blind families, neighbors, and systems. It shows how a soft smile can be a shield. It shows that good policies matter when instincts fail. When these cases hit the news, the world reacts fast. Headlines give nicknames: Giggling Granny, Black Widow, Angel of Death. The names are catchy, but they hide victims and motives behind a circus tent. They also blur the facts. A neat label is easier than a messy truth. Families and survivors grieve in public. Cameras point at homes and hospitals. People ask, how could this happen? The answer is rarely simple. It is a mix of access, power, bias, and missed warnings. Policy changes follow. Hospitals build trigger systems to spot unusual patterns. Social services add stronger checks for boarding houses. Insurance companies set stricter rules. Police reopen old cases and test remains. Training grows in elder care and child protection. Anonymous hotlines appear where they did not exist before. Researchers weigh in. Studies say female serial killers are a small part of known serial cases. But some experts think history missed many because poison and caregiving roles can hide murder for years. Motives often include money, control, attention, or a twisted sense of helping. There are exceptions. There is no single female killer mind. The public splits. Some want to paint these women as monsters unlike any others. Others say they were shaped by trauma or partners. Both views miss the center. Choice and harm are still real. So is context. What happens inside a mind that chooses this path? There is no one script, but we can see patterns. Access plus need. Some held power in private spaces, wards, kitchens, boarding houses. They saw how easy it could be. They saw money they wanted, or attention. or control. Opportunity met desire. Rationalization. They told themselves stories. He will not suffer. They would die soon anyway. I deserve this. Each lie made the line easier to cross next time. Dehumanization. A patient became a number. A tenant became a check. A husband became a problem. Once a person becomes a thing, harm follows. Reward. A first success is a dangerous teacher. Money arrives. Praise comes. Authority grows. The brain learns. This works. Identity armor. Some built a role: rescuer, caretaker, grandmother. To question them felt rude or cruel. This kept critics quiet. It also kept victims close. This buildup does not excuse. It explains the slippery slope so others can spot it and stop it. It also reminds us to build systems that do not rest on one person's charm. Are female serial killers truly rare, or were many missed in the past because poison and private spaces hide the crime? How do we hold the whole truth, personal trauma, social failure, and personal choice, without letting any part erase the others? In Killer Couples, where does influence end and responsibility begin? How do we see both clearly? How can hospitals, care homes, and social services stay warm and human while still running strict checks that catch harm early? How can media tell these stories without turning criminals into dark celebrities and pushing victims to the edge of the frame? Think of the small signs we trust every day. A cup set down in front of you, a bedside touch, a friendly knock, a lift offered on a rainy night. Most of the time, these moments are safe. They are the glue of a good society. These cases do not ask us to fear everyone. They ask us to respect risk where power and privacy meet. The lesson is not trust no one. The lesson is build guardrails. Make it easy to speak up. Teach teams to spot patterns. Check what looks too neat. Believe the social worker who says, something is wrong. Run the audit when numbers look strange. Ask for a second doctor when a family keeps getting unlucky. Keep a clear eye and a soft heart. The women in these stories use the masks we love most: kindness, care, home. Their crimes are unforgettable because they broke those sacred images. But their victims deserve more than fear and legend. They deserve changes that last, better systems, braver questions, and a public that does not fall asleep just because a danger smiles. Stand again in that warm kitchen. Hear the kettle sing. This time, imagine a world where quiet harm is harder to hide. Where patients are safe because patterns get flagged early. Where boarding houses are checked with care. Where no one is above a question, not even the nicest person in the room. That world is not built by shock. It's built by steady choices after the headlines fade. That is how we honor the lost and keep others safe.